Good evening and welcome to tonight's show from DJNTV, Disc Jockey News TV. Tonight's show is brought to you by Electra Voice, DJ Event Planner, DJ Trivia, Odyssey Innovative Designs and Cases, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, and the DJNTV Insiders.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the DJ Spotlight here on Disc Jockey News TV. Jay, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it. I would love to hear a bit about the early beginnings of you getting into the DJ scene up until just kind of like how it brought you to where you are today.
Okay, awesome. So back in, I would say about 2010, I was taken to Baltimore to Bourbon Street. So of course that's where the rave scene is. It's more underground. They do Fall Massive and things like that. While I was there, I got to see Flux Pavilion. And it blew my mind. I actually got to like sit on stage. It was really intimate. Like everything was like super in depth. Everybody was really nice. Like I had like a unicorn, like Viking cane, like walking around that glue. It was like my first show ever. But that was like one of the first or second times I ever heard bass music per se. Like I was into like the Calvin Harris, Akon, like Sexy Bitch, all that stuff, you know, when that stuff came out. So I was like, okay, what is this like more upbeat stuff that's coming out? And then I went to the rave and I was like, nice. So my dad used to be a DJ in the 80s. Him and his best friend were a duo. So I've always been into music. My first memory ever is Anthony Kiedis like running down the street in the Give It Away video. And ever since then, like I've liked every genre of music. I've been really into playing different instruments. I have an ear for music. So if I hear a certain beat or a certain type, like I can pick up something and kind of tune to it and like try and teach myself how to play. I have a little bit of a higher IQ, so I can pretty much teach myself how to do anything. So once I saw the DJ experience and went to the club and kind of got that vibe, I was like, okay, well, maybe I don't want to play an instrument. Maybe I want to try DJing. And my mom's super supportive. So for my 22nd birthday, she got me my first like mixer, turntable. It was a Newmark Mixtrack Pro. I had virtual DJ, like super basic stuff. I played in my bedroom for 4 or 5 years because I have super social anxiety. Like I'm extreme extrovert when it comes to like making friends and mingling and talking. Like that's what I do for work. But when it comes to stuff that involves me, I get extremely shy and like awkward. So I was like, I don't want to play out. I don't want to play out. So eventually I started making mixes and just like for myself. And I would have friends over and they would hear me play and they would be like, no, you have to play. Like you have to send somebody one of your mixes. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Raw's Bass Dread. So I went to see him and I saw him at, I want to say Paradox. He just plays like this different style of what he calls sauce. It's like this hip hoppy, like, but Led Zeppelin mix, like trippy stuff. And I was like, I want to be able to DJ mixed genre. So like mixing like not necessarily top 40s, but like heavier beat bass, trap. I like doing sometimes even like some more old school like hip hop with like, I try to call it like a trap house mix. I mix house and trap together and flow them into one set. So it's more like an increase of bass, like upbeat and speedy, or I keep like the low tempo in the beginning and like feed it over. So just like I think the different genres of music and then me actually getting the mixer and getting confident in mixing in itself was actually what got me to go perform. So the funny thing about Bass Dread being my influence DJing is he's the first person to ever book me to DJ to play in the rave scene. So he booked me to play in Baltimore at this place called The Depot. I played a full hour drum and bass set. That was what I first started playing, was drum and bass and jungle. Got like standing ovation, went really great. Like I literally almost didn't play. I was so nervous. I didn't even want to go. But everything went great. As I was playing there, I had a guy come up to me in the parking lot after my set and offered me my first festival gig, which was called Birthday, which they throw in Pennsylvania. And that was Eric Black. So from there, I just kind of put myself out there on Facebook that I was DJing. I used to promote for Badass Raves. So like Jaleel Khan, Chad Bozzarelli, they both have been like super good influencing me, like helping me know where to find gigs, etc. So, you know, people started reaching out to me. I made a DJ Facebook page, and started like networking a little bit, because that's one of my stronger points. I'm really good at mingling and things like that. So I got my first like show outside of the rave, which was for the 420 initiative, like the I-71, so like the pop-up events. And I went to play. They said like top 40s only, blah, 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 blah. But I'm kind of a daredevil. So I played top 40s for like an hour, and then I started mixing like jungle in, because it's similar to reggae. And they loved it, so they booked me for every Sunday. So I had my first gig ever. Like, I got booked for a residency, so I played every week, 6-hour set, all ages, all types of music, like going from me playing top 40s to me playing literally anything I wanted. I introduced them to EDM, so it went from like just basic hip hop or just basic reggae to drum and bass and jungle and trap and all these things. And more EDM DJs ended up coming, and that's where I started. And now I'm playing local events. I do weddings. I do birthday parties. My friend just asked me to DJ her kid's first birthday party yesterday. So it's like I'm just DJing everywhere all the time, but I love it.
I love that. And by the ways, you have the coolest mom. Like, she.
Yes, my mom is the coolest mom.
Yeah.
She's bought me my first guitar, first mixer, first everything.
Oh, I love that encouragement. I hope that people that are listening right now, because like a lot of us are also parents, like I hope we're that kind of parent to our children and our friends, just that like that support of encouragement of saying like, yeah, you want to try it out. Maybe it'll stick, maybe it won't, but you won't know if you don't try it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know that you are really passionate about creating diversity in the industry. Can you tell us how you're doing that at the moment?
So I never really thought about it in perspective, just because I'm so neutral and fluid with like the way I dress, and you know, my friends are diverse in race and things like that. My friend was like, you know, there isn't really any other Black girl that DJs EDM. They were like, well, at least not around here. And I was like, I never thought about it that way. They're like, yeah, they were like, you're kind of creating like your own entity in the scene, because I mean, it's already, you know, powerful male run, you know, girls only get booked if they're pretty, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, there's a lot of really, really good girl DJs that are really sticking it to them. Like Kat Neversoft is from here, and she's soaring through the drum and bass scene right now. DJ Confetti, she's here. She was one of my influences for the tech house and things like that. And then, you know, I'm coming up, and I've only been in it, it'll be 2 years in August that I've been playing out. But just like being like that girl of color, you know, that's different, that's alternative. You know, when I was younger, because I was alternative and Black, I didn't feel like as Black within myself. But now I'm realizing I'm extremely proud to be Black and different. So just letting people knowing that like they can be different, they can be whatever color they want, they can DJ, trap. I listen to Marilyn Manson. Like, you can do whatever you want to do, and like be the person that creates the standard instead of following one. And just like showing men that like, we're girls, but we can do it too, and we can play any genre you can play, and it's still going to be the same result, you know?
Or better, you know, whatever.
Or better.
I mean, I had this conversation. I was at a music festival over the weekend, like in a completely different genre of music, and like a few of the people I was talking to, we were talking about how a lot of the women in the scene end up being so much better because well, one, things aren't really given to us, like
right.
Really, like the women that I know seem to work so much harder, and they also don't just drop money like a few grand on equipment just for fun.
Right.
I find men spend a lot of money on like cars and Xboxes and like
Right.
computer games, and it's like you're not making a career out of that. If girl's gonna drop a bunch of money on something, like chances
It's
are,
going to be an investment.
yeah, yeah, yes. On that note, you actually mentioned a little bit earlier about being an introvert.
Yes.
I know so many people in the industry that are introverts, and like and you also mentioned like you're actually good at like striking up conversations, which is always so interesting, right?
Yes.
I know my husband, he feels like he kind of has to recharge his batteries after the end of the weekend when he comes out with me.
Yes.
So how do you think being in the music industry has had an impact on that?
I know just being in the scene, I guess you would say, DJing in the other perspective, like on my outside of the rave scene stuff, club stuff is extremely like chill. It's laid back. Like I go in there with anxiety, but that's just me. I'm an anxious person. It's just a part of my personality and who I am. But just like that nerve-wracking feeling of the other DJs are here and they're going to be watching me and they're going to hear every transition I miss, or if I didn't beat match that song, like just that, I guess, insecurity going into the gig, not feeling as confident within myself as I know I should be. So it makes me become less confident in like every quality of myself. Instead of me just being like, oh, I'm nervous, I'll be fine when I get there. Every time I DJ, it's like me having to come out of the shell over and over and over again. And it's like, you know, I'm almost 2 years in, and when is it going to be like, man, am I not going to ever be nervous for a gig? Am I ever going to be 100% comfortable like bringing my USB? Because I didn't start on CDJs. I started with a controller, and everybody's like, oh, if you don't DJ on CDJs and you're not a real DJ, and blah, 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 which I feel is ridiculous because it's like now I can play on any type of equipment that I want. But at the same time, if a DJ is playing on vinyl and they're train wrecking every transition, I'd rather somebody bring their laptop and play on a controller and do a good job.
Yeah.
So it's like just getting out of my head and becoming like confident within myself and being confident within my qualities. It's really hard just like because of the fact that I was in the scene for so long. I've really invested like my time and, you know, money and just like trying to create the scene and make it better for the people who were coming up after me. So feeling like not all the support, I feel like also makes it hard for me to feel, you know, not necessarily not accepted, but not as confident as I should, which also brings out those qualities as well. But I feel like the more support that I get from home, my best friends come to all my shows, you know, creating like rituals, writing more, just being like more open about the insecurities that I do have. It makes me be able to handle it better now that I've been doing it a little bit longer.
I love that even though you feel that anxiety, even though you know it's probably going to be like that for a while,
Right.
you still put yourself out there, and that's what's going to build confidence over time. Like you still push yourself to do it, and I have so much respect for that.
I appreciate that.
A lot of people let their fear hold them back, and I think it's important to have a dream that is bigger than your fear, right?
Yes.
So I love that you keep going for it. And I know some artists struggle with this too, not always feeling like they have a lot of support from home. And the more, I mean, like building a fan base is awesome, but a lot of the times, especially if we become more and more successful, we might find that the other artists that have been around for longer than us don't always appreciate it, because
Exactly.
the thing is, a lot of upcoming DJs are more open to learning and growing and trying new things out, where somebody that is newer, if they don't want to change, they can just not support you, and that can really feed into somebody's insecurities. So I like that you have a support group, and I think it's just important for people to note that I've talked to a lot of big name artists that play maybe twice in their own city and tour everywhere else, know, around the world. So it's okay for those of y'all that are watching this interview. It's okay. Like people don't adore you in your city. Like just keep going for your dreams. With that being said, though, you've played well over 100 shows and you've only been playing out to crowds for a couple of years now. What does the process look like for you in curating these DJ sets and mixtapes? Because obviously what you are doing is working.
So essentially every day that I wake up, I invest an hour into DJ time. I go to work, but before like 10 a.m., I get on my DJ page. I send out invites. I network to different companies that I haven't talked to before. Facebook with other DJs. Usually during the week, I share other DJs' pages, try to get a flow and algorithm through the community in general, because I feel like there isn't enough support because everybody's trying to like compete. I don't want to compete with anyone. I'm going to play what I play. You're going to play what you play. I'm going to get booked for what I get booked for, and vice versa for you. So as far as like us being in like this constant competition, I'm not about it. I'd rather all of us work together and just like communicate. So I do that as well. Communicate with DJs out of state, promo companies out of state. I've gotten a pretty decent following down in Charlotte, North Carolina. I played Surge there. I've been playing in West Virginia. I've been playing in Virginia, here in Maryland, and just like keeping that region. So my goal was to get to 3,000 likes on my DJ page, which I just did, because I wanted to do it before the end of the month, and just like creating like that East Coast flow. Like, so my Facebook page is like an algorithm. I post about like positive things. I like being like around like-minded people. So like I like to create like that same type of flow when I'm doing music. So just like making sure that people know that like I'm serious about what I'm doing. I download music every week. If I'm playing a set, I'm not playing the same set twice. There's no pre-record. There's no sync button. Like everything is like off the top. I might know what genre I'm going to play, but as far as like handpicking the songs, I have maybe 100. And I'm fanning through and I'm reading the crowd, and like that's what you're going to get. I just think it's really, really important if you want to get booked to remember that you have to keep things fresh. You can never be like, oh, I'm getting booked every week. Let me stop hitting people up, because what if that company stops throwing events? Then those gigs are gone. What if you lose that person's number? Then those gigs are gone. It's like there should always be new people. So that's how I feel like I've been getting booked so much, and that's how I feel like I'll continue to get booked more.
You have just started and you've already figured this out. Like you're like, I wake up first thing in the morning and do this every day for an hour. Like, girl, I just started doing stuff like that. And I now have a kid and no free time. So you're amazing. I love that you're setting goals too.
Yes.
Like even if it sounds like silly to other people, goal setting, if you know what you're aiming for, oh my god, I am so glad we connected. This is so exciting.
Yes.
So on that note, even though like the more we talk, the more I'm like, man, she's doing a lot, but she's still young, ain't she? What is a piece of advice you'd give your younger self?
Younger self, just don't listen to anyone, and if they seem like they're hating or whatever or being negative, just turn the negativity into a positive. I'm still learning that now. Just like go with the flow. If you feel like you're good at something, do it. If you aren't good at it when you start, you will be. I mean, I get booked all the time. I practice every day. After work, I come home and I DJ for an hour every day, whether it be on Facebook Live or by myself. I make at least 2 mixes a month. Just like making sure to tell my old self, like, you were good when you thought you were good, and, you know, just make sure that you understand that, like, as long as you feel confident in yourself, that it doesn't really matter what the outside world is telling you. Like, just, like, stay focused on what you're doing and, like, be confident in what you like to listen to, what you want to hear, and keep going with the flow, I guess.
I love it. Okay, well, to end off this wonderful interview, what are some exciting things coming up that you think people should know about? Mixes, events, tune releases, all that good stuff.
So for the past week, I've been trying to release my new house mix, but I keep getting sick and stuff, and my guinea pig died. So it's been a rough week, but I do have a new house mix coming out. It's nasty. I will say for myself. I really put my foot in that one. I call it Summer Swing. It's going to be out on SoundCloud soon. This Saturday, I'm doing Thunderground Festival. It's hip hop based. So they're going to have Paul Wall and Project Pat. I don't know if you guys were into any of them when you were younger, but Project Pat and Paul Wall were kind of big for me. So I'm super excited about that. Big Dub Festival is here in Maryland, in Pennsylvania. It's one of the biggest festivals on the East Coast, and it's 10-year anniversary. I'm playing 2 sets there. I'm most excited about that for sure. And just a bunch of other little things. My birthday's next week. I got a birthday gig coming up. So it's going to be all kinds of O.F.Y all over the summer.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me today for this interview. I really appreciate it. For the rest of you all that are tuned into this episode of the DJ Spotlight, what did she say that really stood out to you? Let us know in the comments below some insight that she gave and how you're going to apply it to your DJ life today. And there was one other thing. Oh, yeah. Don't let no one kill your vibe.